Hello, my name is Daniel Hayes. I'm 42 years old. And the last thing my wife said to me before she walked out the door was, "You ruined my life." Not, "I'm unhappy." Not, "We need space." Not even, "This isn't working anymore." She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "I ruined her life." Then she picked up her suitcase and left like I was nothing. That was 8 months ago, and 3 nights ago. She knocked on my door at 2:17 in the morning, begging to come back. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Because if you saw us a year ago, you would have said we were fine, not perfect, but solid. 15 years of marriage, one house, 2 cars, no kids, and a routine that felt safe enough to never question. That's the dangerous kind of relationship. The one that doesn't fall apart loudly, it just slowly stops being real. Her name was Emily, and somewhere along the way, she started changing. Not all at once. That's never how it happens. It starts small. She became quieter at dinner, spent more time on her phone, started going to bed later than me, or earlier, just not at the same time. We stopped talking about anything that mattered. Bills, groceries, schedules. That was it. Everything else? Silence. At first I thought it was stress, work, life, the usual excuses people use when they don't want to look too closely. Then came the comments. "You don't understand me anymore. You never listen. I feel stuck." At first I tried to fix it. That's what I've always done. When something breaks, I fix it. I planned weekends away, dinners, tried to talk, tried to listen, but every time I reached for her, she pulled back just a little more, like she had already decided something and was just waiting for the right moment to say it out loud. The night it finally happened, I remember everything. The way she stood in the living room, arms crossed, not crying, not shaking, just certain. That's what bothered me the most. Not anger, not sadness, certainty. "I can't do this anymore," she said. I asked her what that meant, even though I already knew, and then she said it, the sentence that doesn't leave your head. "You ruined my life." I actually laughed at first, not because it was funny, because it didn't make sense. Ruined? I paid the bills. I stayed loyal. I built everything we had. But to her, none of that mattered anymore. She started talking fast after that, about how she felt trapped, how she had wasted years, how she needed to find herself. That phrase, "find myself," it always shows up right before someone walks away from everything they once promised. I asked her if there was someone else. She didn't answer. And when someone doesn't answer that question, you already know. She packed a suitcase. Not everything. Just enough to leave. That's another detail people miss. When they leave like that, they're not escaping. They're transitioning. And they already know where they're going. She stopped at the door, turned around, looked at me one last time, and said, "You'll be better off without me." Then she left. No hug, no hesitation, no looking back, just gone. And the silence after that was louder than anything she said. At first I thought she'd come back, a day, a week, maybe a month. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the truth became impossible to ignore. She didn't regret leaving. She had been planning it, and whatever she left for was more important to her than anything we had built together. So I stopped waiting. I stopped calling, stopped asking questions I already knew the answer to. I went back to work, focused on myself, started rebuilding something I didn't even realize I had lost. Myself. And slowly, something strange happened. I stopped missing her. Not completely, but enough to breathe again. Enough to sleep without replaying that last conversation in my head. Enough to realize maybe she hadn't ruined my life by leaving. Maybe she had just ended a version of it that was already over. And then, 8 months later, at 2:17 in the morning, someone knocked on my door. I wasn't expecting anyone at 2:17 in the morning. No one knocks that late unless something is wrong. At first I thought about ignoring it, just letting it pass. But then it came again. Slower this time, not aggressive, almost hesitant. That's what made me get up. I walked to the door, not turning on the lights, looked through the small side window first, and for a second, I didn't recognize her. Not because it wasn't Emily, because she didn't look like the version of her that had walked out 8 months earlier. That version was confident, certain, almost relieved. This one? She looked tired, hair pulled back messily. No makeup. Wearing a jacket that didn't look like it belonged to her. And the way she stood there, slightly hunched, like she didn't want to be seen. Told me everything before she even said a word. I opened the door halfway, didn't step aside, didn't invite her in. We just stood there, looking at each other like strangers who used to know too much. "Daniel," she said quietly. And that was it. No speech, no explanation. Just my name, like she wasn't sure she still had the right to say it. I didn't respond right away. I just looked at her, took in every detail, because something inside me needed to confirm it. This was real. She was actually here. After 8 months of silence, after one sentence that had replayed in my head more times than I could count. "You ruined my life." Now she was standing on my doorstep, at 2 a.m, looking like she had nowhere else to go. "I know this is a bad time," she said. I almost smiled at that. A bad time. Like she had shown up a little too early or a little too late. Like this was just an inconvenience, not the result of everything she had chosen. "What do you want?" I asked. My voice sounded calmer than I expected, flat, controlled. That seemed to catch her off guard. She looked down for a second, then back at me. "Can I come in?" she asked. Simple question. But it carried everything, because if I said yes, I was opening the door to more than just the house. I was opening the door to the past, to explanations, to emotions I had spent months putting back together piece by piece. So, I didn't move. "Why are you here?" I asked instead. She hesitated. And that hesitation told me more than anything she could have said. Because the woman who left me didn't hesitate. She had answers, confidence, certainty. This version of her was searching for something to hold on to. "I need to talk to you," she said. I shook my head slightly. "No," I said. "You need something?" That hit. I saw it in her face. That small flicker of discomfort. Because I wasn't playing my old role anymore. Not the patient husband. Not the man who filled in the blanks for her. Not the one who made things easier. "I made a mistake," she said quickly. There it was, the first crack. Not a full confession, not accountability. Just enough to test if the door might still open. I crossed my arms, looked at her for a long second, then asked the only question that mattered. "Are you still with him?" Silence. And in that silence, I got my answer. Because people always answer that question, even when they don't speak. Her eyes dropped, shoulders tightened, and just like that, the entire story filled itself in. Whatever she left for, whatever she chose over me, was gone. And now, she was here. "Daniel, it's not like that," she said. Of course it wasn't. It never is. Not when they come back. Not when they need something. "It ended," she added quickly. "A while ago. A while ago." Another vague timeline. Another attempt to control how much truth I got. But I didn't press. I didn't need details, because the details didn't matter anymore. Only one thing did. She left. And now, she was back. "I didn't know where else to go," she said quietly. And there it was. Finally. The truth. Not love, not regret, not "I miss you." Need. She needed something. And for the first time since she showed up, I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, just distance. Because 8 months ago, I would have opened that door without thinking. I would have let her in, listened, tried to fix it, tried to fix her. But standing there now, I realized something simple. She didn't come back because she understood what she did. She came back because whatever she chose instead of me didn't work. And that changes everything. I stepped slightly forward, just enough that she had to look at me directly. "You said I ruined your life," I said. My voice was still calm. Too calm. She swallowed. "I didn't mean that," she said. Of course, now she didn't mean it. Now that she needed something. Now that she was standing outside instead of walking away. I nodded slowly, not agreeing, just acknowledging that I heard her. Then I asked, "So why are you really here?" She opened her mouth, closed it, then finally said the one thing she had been trying not to say since the moment I opened the door. "Can I come home?" And just like that, everything became very clear. I didn't answer her right away. That's what she expected. Not silence, not space. A quick reaction, something emotional, something she could work with. But I just stood there, looking at her, letting the question sit between us. Can I come home? 8 months ago, that sentence would have broken me. Now, it just sounded convenient. I took a slow breath and stepped back half an inch. Not enough to invite her in, just enough to make her unsure. That's where I wanted her, uncertain, because that's exactly where she had left me. "What does home mean to you?" I asked. She blinked. That wasn't the answer she expected. "I mean, here," she said, gesturing slightly past me into the house. "With you. With you." Funny how easy those words come back when everything else falls apart. I nodded slowly, then said, "That wasn't your home 8 months ago." That hit, harder than anything else so far, because it wasn't emotional, it was factual, and facts are harder to argue with. "I was confused," she said quickly. "I was going through a lot. I didn't understand what I had." Another step. Closer to accountability, but not quite there, not yet. Still soft, still safe, still shaped in a way that protected her more than it acknowledged me. I leaned against the doorframe, completely relaxed. That bothered her more than if I had been angry, because calm means control, and she could feel she didn't have it anymore. "You seemed pretty sure," I said. Her eyes dropped again. That was becoming a pattern, looking down when the truth got too close. "I thought I was," she admitted. "Better, closer, but still not enough." I let a few seconds pass, didn't rush to fill the silence. That's another thing people don't realize. Silence makes people reveal more than questions do. And right now, she was starting to feel it. "I messed up," she said. There it was, finally. Simple, clear, no excuses attached. But still, late, very late. I looked at her for a long moment, really looked, not at the version of her I used to know, at the person standing in front of me now, and I saw it clearly. She wasn't here because she loved me. She wasn't here because she suddenly understood everything she had lost. She was here because something else had failed, and I was the safest place she remembered. That realization didn't hurt. It clarified. "You didn't just mess up," I said quietly. She looked up, eyes slightly wider now, because she could feel the shift. "You made a decision," I continued. "You looked at everything we had and decided it wasn't enough." She opened her mouth to respond, but I didn't stop. "And then you told me I ruined your life," I said. Like I was the problem. Her face tightened. "Daniel, I raised my hand slightly, not aggressive, just enough to stop her. "Don't," I said. That word again, short, final. She went quiet immediately. And now, for the first time, she was listening, not preparing a response, not shaping a narrative, listening. "I spent months thinking about that sentence," I said, wondering what I did wrong, what I missed, what I should have done differently. Her eyes softened, but I didn't let it matter. "And then I realized something," I added. A pause, just long enough to make sure she was paying attention. "I didn't ruin your life," I said. "You just didn't want the one you had." That landed deeper than anything else, because it took her entire story and flipped it. No drama, no yelling, just truth, and she had nowhere to hide from it. Tears started forming in her eyes now, real ones, not controlled, not timed, too late. "I was wrong," she said quietly. "I know that now." I believed her. That wasn't the problem. People often realize they were wrong after the consequences arrive. That doesn't undo the choice. "I lost everything," she added. There it was again. Everything, but not us, not you. Everything, her world, her comfort, her stability, still centered around her. I noticed that immediately. And so did something inside me. It shut the last remaining door. Because even now, even here, she wasn't fully seeing me. Just what she had lost. And what she wanted back. I stepped forward slightly, close enough that she had to meet my eyes. "Did you ever stop and think what you did to me?" I asked. Her lips parted. No words came out. Because for the first time, The conversation wasn't about her feelings, and she wasn't ready for that. Silence again, heavy this time, real, and then she said it, soft, barely audible. I didn't think you'd move on. That almost made me smile, not out of amusement, out of clarity, because that was it. That was the truth she hadn't said until now. She thought I'd wait. She thought I'd stay the same. She thought I'd be there, unchanged, until she decided to come back. And now she was standing here, realizing I wasn't. I didn't move on, I said calmly. Hope flickered in her eyes, too fast, too easy. Then I finished the sentence. I moved forward, and just like that, it disappeared. She just stood there, trying to process that. I moved forward. It's a simple sentence, but for someone who expected you to stay exactly where they left you, it hits like a wall. I know I hurt you, she said, stepping a little closer. I know I said things I shouldn't have said, but that's why I'm here. I want to fix it. Fix it. That word again. People always come back with that word when they realize something is gone, like everything can just be repaired if they say it the right way. But she wasn't talking about fixing us. She was talking about fixing her situation. I could hear it in the way she spoke, urgent, unstable, not grounded in understanding, grounded in need. You don't want to fix it, I said calmly. You want it back. That stopped her, because it was true, and truth when it's that direct doesn't leave much room to maneuver. I want us back, she said, correcting herself quickly. I didn't react, didn't nod, didn't soften, just looked at her and waited. That silence stretched, long enough to make her uncomfortable again. You're acting like you don't care at all, she said finally. There it was, the pressure shift, from apology to accusation, subtle but predictable. I cared, I said, for a long time. Past tense. That word did more damage than anything else, because it made her realize she wasn't stepping back into the same place she left. That place didn't exist anymore. Tears started falling now. Real ones. No control left. I made a mistake, she said again, her voice breaking. Why are you acting like there's no way back from that? Because to her, this was still negotiable, still something that could be worked through if she said the right things. But she still didn't understand the one thing that mattered. It wasn't the mistake, it was the choice. You didn't trip, I said quietly. You didn't get confused for a moment. You chose something else. Over me. She shook her head quickly. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, I cut in. No anger, just certainty. And that's what finally broke her composure. She stepped closer again. Too close this time. Daniel, please, she said. I have nowhere else to go. And there it was. No more pretending, no more careful wording, just truth. She needed something. And I was the closest solution. I looked at her for a long second, then asked, if everything had worked out, would you be here right now? She froze, completely. Because that's the question people never prepare for, the one that removes all the emotion and leaves only reality. Her eyes dropped, again, and that was my answer. No, she wouldn't be here, not knocking, not crying, not asking to come back. She would still be gone, and I would still be the man who ruined her life. That realization didn't hurt. It settled, deep, final. I stepped back slightly, creating space between us, not just physically, emotionally. Daniel, she whispered, but I shook my head again. No, I said, this time softer, but even more final. She wiped her face quickly, trying to regain some control. You're just going to throw everything away? She asked. And that question, that one always amazes me, because it flips everything. Suddenly I'm the one throwing something away, not the person who left, not the person who broke it, the one who refuses to take it back. I'm not throwing anything away, I said. You already did that. Silence, heavy, unavoidable, and for the first time since she arrived, she had nothing left to say. No arguments, no explanations, no emotional angles left to play. Just the truth sitting there between us, with nowhere to go. She looked at me one last time, really looked, like she was trying to find something familiar, something she could still reach. But it wasn't there, and she could see that now. "I didn't think you'd change like this," she said quietly. I nodded once. "I didn't think you would either." That was it. That was the moment everything ended. Not when she left, not when she came back. Here, when both of us finally saw each other clearly and realized there was nothing left to return to. She stood there a few seconds longer, like she was waiting for something to change, for me to soften, for me to step aside, for the door behind me to open just a little wider. But it didn't, and slowly, she started to understand that it wasn't going to. Her shoulders dropped slightly, not dramatically, just enough to show that whatever confidence she had walked up with was gone. "So that's it?" she asked quietly. Not angry, not defensive, just smaller. I looked at her, really looked this time, at the person she had become, and at the version of myself that used to stand in front of her, hoping things would go back to the way they were. They don't. They never do. "Yeah," I said. "That's it. No speech, no explanation, no second chance wrapped in careful words, just the truth. Simple, clean, final." She nodded slowly, like she was trying to accept it, even if she didn't fully understand it yet. "I thought," she started, then stopped. I didn't ask her to finish, because I already knew. She thought I'd wait. She thought I'd still be there, unchanged, available, just paused, waiting for her to decide when to come back. That's what people believe when they leave like that your life stops where they left it. But it doesn't. It keeps moving, with or without them. "I'm sorry," she said, and this time, it sounded real, not calculated, not strategic, just late, very late. I nodded once. "I know," I said, and I meant it. I believed she was sorry. That wasn't the problem. Being sorry doesn't undo decisions. It doesn't erase choices. It doesn't rebuild what someone chose to walk away from. It just arrives after everything is already gone. She took a step back, then another, like she wasn't sure how to leave, now that she understood there was nothing left to stay for. "Take care of yourself," she said. That phrase, so familiar, so empty when it comes at the end. I didn't respond, not because I wanted to hurt her, because there was nothing left to say that mattered. She turned, walked to her car, opened the door, stopped for a second, like she might look back, but she didn't, and that told me everything, because people only look back when they think something is still there. She got in, closed the door, and drove away, just like she did 8 months ago. But this time, it felt different. This time, I didn't feel abandoned. I felt free. I stood there for a moment after she left, listening to the quiet, no tension, no noise, no waiting, just stillness. The kind that doesn't suffocate you, the kind that lets you breathe. I closed the door, locked it, walked back into the house, and for the first time in a long time, it actually felt like mine, not ours, mine. I went to the kitchen, made coffee, sat down, and just existed. No replaying conversations, no wondering what I could have done differently, no trying to understand her choices, because I already did. She made them, and I accepted them. That's the difference. Later that day, I got one message, just one. "I really am sorry." I looked at it for a long time, then locked my phone and set it down. No reply. Because closure doesn't always come from the other person. Sometimes, it comes from finally choosing yourself. She said I ruined her life and walked away. But in the end, all she really did was give me mine back.